and welcome to Gainsborough Central. Last night I used Gainsborough Lee Road station and walked in the dark, which was rather creepy, through the town to my hotel. Now this station is much better suited for the town, except it has one problem. It has a very limited service. In fact, there is only one train a day in both directions, and there's no weekend service at all. So what on earth is going on here? Well, in the 1980s until 1993, this line did have 3 return services a day. I've just read on an information board nearby that there was an ironworks which closed in 1993, which is coincidental enough that it makes me think that is exactly why the service was reduced on this line. Now in 1993, that service dropped even more to just 3 return services on a Saturday only. I mentioned in the video that I filmed yesterday on a family trip to Cleethorpes, where I almost didn't make it there. I really wanted to, because I wanted to catch one of these rare Saturday services to Gainsborough, which I did do. What I've not done though is visit the other 2 intermediate stations on this line, which has the very similar poor service. However, in 2019, Gainsborough Central did actually have an hourly service. They introduced an hourly service from here to Sheffield, but that was quite quickly dropped due to COVID, and unfortunately, it has not yet returned. It looks at first to be really well used, because look at this car park, but no one's actually parked their car here to use the station. So you can see here that it is just the 2 trains. The one to Cleethorpes this morning is at 11:15. To waste some time, I've gone to have a look at an old hall here in Gainsborough, and I've also taken a very foggy morning walk along the River Trent, which was really nice. So this is Curtin Lindsey station. We'll return here later. It doesn't seem like anyone got on or off. It's a relatively empty train. There's not that many people on it. It's quite a journey though, the full journey from Sheffield to Cleethorpes. Okay, so here's the thing with Brig. I've come in on the 11:08 service, but the return isn't until 1:49. I've got 2 hours and 40 minutes here, so, you know, let's go for a bit of a walk and explore around Brig. It is quite a substantial town. Quite a few people live here, which is why it's a shame that there isn't more services. So we'll head up into the town, and you can see that there's also a river. So at least I have places to explore in my time here. And they got fresh new sleepers there on what's the disused extended part of the platforms. Can we bring in a new service while we're at it? Oh, well, it's not much of an entrance, is it? Huge, empty, gravelly car park. I feel like I'm on a disused site or something. I did wonder whether, due to the lack of rail service around here, whether Brig would be a very car-centric place, but actually it has a very nice pedestrianised market area here. So here's the River Anchol, which will be my main feature on my explore of Brig, so I guess I'll just head up it, and then at some point I'll just head back on the return. Now that I've left Brig behind, it's become a beautiful rural river. Thank God this is here. I don't know what I would have done in Brig otherwise. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to walk all the way up until it meets the River Humber. That absolutely would be a walk I'd do if I lived local. What I was going to do though was take this bridge to head back along the river on the other side, but actually I have enough time that I think I'm going to continue with the river and then cross the next bridge, because I'd much rather get more of a river walk done than spend an hour waiting at the station. Alright, so I've made it to the next bridge. I think I've done an additional mile, but I can now head over and head back to Brig on the other side. So at least I get a bit of diversity on the walk. Wow, that looks such a long way back to the other one that I passed under. And I think the next bridge in this direction is a railway one for a line between Scunthorpe and Barnetby, which we may be passing over later. Actually, I can just about see a train all the way over there. There's no proper paved path on the other side of the river, so I'm walking across undisturbed, condensated grass from this morning's fog, which has absolutely soaked through my shoes. But I've made it up to the first bridge now. I've seen nobody. It's been so nice doing this walk. Well, it's starting to get a little bit more urban as I re-enter Brigg, where there are actually two branches of the river flowing through the town. So for a little bit more diversity, now that I'm on this side, I can walk the other branch before then heading through the town to the station. So I've made it back to Brigg station with about 20 minutes to spare. I wonder whether this is going to be the same train or not, same guard as well. If it is, that means that it waits over an hour in Cleethorpes, which is a bit odd. When I travelled on this line before, it was the one and only time I caught a Northern Pacer train, and a random lady as she was getting off handed me a packet of Cadbury caramel nibbles. Thank you, I quite like them. Anyways, I think Brigg is station 950 for me. I started the year with Ockenden, which was 798, 799, so I've done over 150, which is as many as I did last year. So I have improved. We're getting closer to that magic 1000 number, and it's still October, so I can still squeeze some more in before the end of the year, like Curtin Lindsey.
The next station stop is Curtin Lindsey.
So one person got off this morning, two people got on this train, plus me with a return. That makes it 5 passengers today at Brigg. Same guard, by the way. So that means he must get an hour plus break at Cleethorpes. I don't know if he realised I was the same person who got off this morning there. So I thought that all of the line north of Gainsborough was single track, like it is here at Curtin Lindsey. It's quite an impressive tunnel entrance down there. I was surprised to find that Brigg had 2 platforms, though north of that station it does become single track again. That made me wonder, if they did improve the service on this line, how frequent can they get the trains? Because the nearby Barton-on-Humber line, which has some stations in the middle of nowhere, they have a service every 2 hours, whereas major towns like Brigg has one a day. And I just realised it's at a very arbitrary time. It's not like Coombe or Finstock, when there's one train in the morning and then the return is in the evening, so you can still get to work. The return is at lunchtime. Why? I thought if it was single track, then it could probably have a service every 2 hours, but considering that there's 2 platforms at Brigg, you can even up that to hourly. But we don't want to invest in this line, it seems, which is a shame. And I think this line, along with the Stockport to Staleybridge line, which I've not done, are the 2 least served in the country. Out of the 3 stops, this one is the least used. In fact, it's the least used in the whole of Lincolnshire. Gainsborough Central and Brigg have both just over 1,000 passengers a year, whereas this one only got 294. That's less than one a day, but if you consider there's no weekend service, it's much closer to one a day. And today, that's me. No one else got on or off. But I bought a ticket from Gainsborough Central to Brigg return, so I've actually not contributed to Curtin Lindsey's statistics. And I'm kind of stranded here now, but I did have a look, and there are bus services. There's a 103 which links Lincoln with Scunthorpe. They're major towns, so I can get a train from there, but even that doesn't have the best service. The next one in either direction is about an hour and a half away. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go for an explore of Curtin Lindsey. So I've actually already wasted some time, just because I thought I'd take the peace and quiet of Curtin Lindsey Station to have lunch to sandwich in my bag. You can see it's a rather big settlement, but interestingly, it is called Curtin Inn Lindsey. It does say it on here as well, but the station doesn't have the inn for some reason. Luckily, there are a few things to have a look at here in Curtin Lindsey, such as this windmill, which is overlooking the beautiful countryside. Also in Curtin Lindsey is the site of an old RAF base. I've come across a few of these this year, but earlier this summer they began demolishing it as they are redeveloping the site into new homes. I think I might have come at the perfect time just to get a shot of it before it's all gone. There are also new houses being built close to the station. If only this incentivised the railway to improve the service for local people. That would be great. And talking of demolished, I am so surprised to see the cooling towers of East Midlands Parkway / Ratcliffe-on-Soar far off in the distance. Because I read just the other week that they want to begin the process of demolishing them, which I think is a crime against preservation and industrial heritage. I'm so glad I got to them when I did last year on a visiting every station trip. Shame it wasn't a double-decker. I almost didn't even end up catching that bus, which would have been a problem. The stop was closed and a driver at the very last second spotted the sign on the road that said temporary bus stop. He bypassed it completely, he overshot it. But I've made it to Scunthorpe now, where although there is a better train service, the train leaves pretty much as soon as the bus gets here, so I've got an hour in Scunthorpe, so let's explore it, I guess. Someone has to. I was always bound to at some point. At least it has a very expansive central park here. So I can spot Scunthorpe station down there. That one dates from 1928, originally known as Scunthorpe and Frodingham, renamed in 1963. But on the other side of this very long footbridge was the original station, somewhere down that way, closer to where a huge steelworks is. I guess if given the chance, I'll walk the pedestrianised high street like I did in Brigg this morning. I don't enjoy this place nearly as much though. Yeah, I'm sorry Scunthorpe, but I don't think I want to come back here. I want to get the train out of here now, which will be a Transpennine Express service, which I didn't realise until I had planned this trip that they have an autumn sale. I imagine much like Greater Anglia's hair fairs that they do from time to time. You can book a specific train in advance, even one quite close to the departure time, and it would be cheaper. So thanks TP for saving me money. That specific train, however, is almost 20 minutes late, so perhaps I'll get a little bit of that back with delay repay. That's going to eat into my Grimsby exploration. This train will also call at Barnetby, which I used when I visited Cleethorpes back in 2019, but I don't have a photo of it, so I'm going to try, as the train stops, to get one. Any second now. I think I arrived bang on 15 minutes late, so I get like £1.20 back in delay repay. What a bargain. Grimsby town, I'm gonna have to speed run my explore of this place a little bit now. I did change here when I visited Cleethorpes the first time, but it would have been a very quick interchange. I didn't even really see the station or the area, so let's rectify that. Starting with Grimsby Minster, it's time to take our favourite roads to walk along, a pedestrianised high street. Wow, well they've torn up a huge part of it. That brings me up to the River Freshney, which feeds water to the historic docks around here. It's also a very historical fishing port, Grimsby too. I could tell from walking up to it that bridge has some work taking place on it, and it seems like the south side is completely closed off, so now I have to go around to walk on the north side. That's adding a bit of jeopardy to the mix. Gonna take longer now. And over the railway, which at this point is about to become single track pretty much all the way to Cleethorpes. Okay, this is where I wanted to make it to, which is why I was rushing. Grimsby Docks station, which I was gonna say the only word I can find to describe it as is grim, but actually I really like the artwork on this wall. It's just a world away from Grimsby town station, and I have only about 7 minutes or so until the train. one of the ways this is so different to Grimsby town is that this only gets a service every 2 hours. I was going to say it would be a little northern train that goes up the Barton on Humber line, because back when I visited Cleethorpes in 2019, that and the Brigg line was the two I wanted to travel on, and back then it was a northern service, but in recent years it has transferred over to East Midlands Railway. The priority today was to do Brigg and Curtin Lindsey. Everything after was a little bit of a bonus, including this. Considering it's getting dark, I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing at this time, but I thought actually just quickly squeeze in this and the other intermediate stop between here and Cleethorpes, so when I come back and do the rest of the stations on the Barton Humber line one day, I won't have to do these two. It will save me a little bit of time.
We are now approaching New Clee. Mind the gap and step when leaving the train.
That's the single worst step between the train and the platform I've ever seen. It surprises me that it is only single track all the way through to Cleethorpes because of the variety of train operators that pass through here, East Midlands, Northern and Transpennine, but I can see a very clear disused second platform here at New Clee. Each time I say New Clee, I want to say nuclear, but it isn't. It is more grim than Grimsby Docks though. In the years since again, it has changed from being a request stop to a permanent stop, though even then I think it had a very weird pattern of being requests. Like only the Sunday services would stop here on requests, something like that, I don't quite remember. Grimsby Docks only gets around 3,000 passengers a year. This gets even less with 2,000, but I'm glad to squeeze these in quickly at the end of my day. I've only done 5 stations today. I mean, I do a lot of exploring, but also the timetable wasn't the best for me in this scenario. I know it's dark, I know it's getting cold, but I can't come this close and not actually visit Cleethorpes. I want to go to the beach. That's the railway down there. You wouldn't know. And all that is the beach. That's going to be a dark walk to Cleethorpes. I really wanted to get a shot of the waves, but I think the tide is so far out down there. How wet is it going to be underfoot for me to do this? I don't think it's going to be that great. Well, I'm trying it anyways. I have to, I can't not. If I miss my train because of this, I swear. Oh, actually, it's gotten drier now. Oh, there's such pitiful waves as well. The flashlight isn't even strong enough to get a good shot of it. Oh man, look how far down I came. At least the esplanade there is lit up nicely, I like that. I can also spot the pier down there, which is my destination. I remember there being the world's largest fish and chip shop at the end of that. I think that's the best you're gonna get. Well, thank you for joining me on that 2-day adventure visiting stations in Lincolnshire. It's quite odd for me to be back in Cleethorpes. I don't think I ever actually came down to the beach at night time though, even though I stayed here for a couple of nights. It's more exciting at this time, to be honest. Right, I got a 3-hour train journey home now to London, but what you can do in that time is subscribe to watch future videos as we reach ever so closer to that station 1000 mark. It's the Cleethorpes curse. I was going to say I hope I get home normally and safely and all that, because when I came here in 2019 I said in yesterday's video it was one of the worst rail journeys I've ever made. I'm sat on the platform, by the way, so you know it isn't good. There's been some sort of police incident beyond the station. There was a train that was just stood there for ages. It's moved now. It's the curse of the single track line though. Mine can't leave. I have a 6-minute change at Doncaster. I'm not making that. And the one after is the last train back to London, which arrives an hour and 40 minutes after my one. So yeah, that's how late I'm going to be getting home now. Oh, perfect timing. As soon as I start recording, I reckon we were probably waiting for that train to come in so we can now go, because the single track is clear. Oh, I'm going to get home at like 2 in the morning. Yeah, that was about 25 minutes late, but I made it to Doncaster, and shout out to TPE staff, they were actually really nice, props to them. I saw this church as I was pulling into Doncaster on the train and thought, silver linings, let's go and have a look at it. Because I didn't get a chance to wander around Doncaster when I came here for the first time a few months ago. Finally pulling into London King's Cross, I find it fitting that I started this little mini-series with saying the worst rail journey I've ever taken was to Cleethorpes. Well, a journey home from Cleethorpes 6 years later is a contender as well, because trackside fire post Peterborough has made us like an additional 10 minutes late. I guess I'm not getting the tube home now, but hey, at least I caught the Pride train, and that's something. At this rate, I don't think we're ever going to get to Station 1000. In terms of favourite and least favourite stations, we'll start with yesterday. I feel like I need to give Swinderby its props for having the old signal box and manual level crossing gate still, whereas in comparison, one stop up the line at Highcombe, it was nothing really. In terms of today, Nucley wasn't particularly nice. I know we ended with it. Favourite though, I was going to say Curtin Lindsey, but it feels a little bit intruding because the station building has become someone's property. So I'm going to go with Brig because it's tucked away over the expansive gravel car park. No one's there.